19th place Queen's Park Rangers head to 11th place Bristol City on Saturday in hope of making it 3 wins from 3 in 7 days for the first time this season. So in this match preview, I'll be talking through how Liam Manning's side have got on this season so far and the key Robins players to look out for. As usual, this will all be followed by a few words on QPR, so if you enjoy this preview and you're not already a subscriber on YouTube or a follower on Spotify or Apple, please make sure to do so. Consistently inconsistent seems to be the best way to sum up Bristol City's season so far, with 6 wins, 8 draws and 6 losses under their belt. They're currently only 6 points outside the playoffs, a position we as QPR fans would likely be rubbing our hands together if we were in, but an inability to put together any real steady run of wins since early November has prevented them from pushing on despite a chunky £8 million spent in the summer transfer window. The Robins went the first 3 matches of the season unbeaten with a 1-1 draw away at Hull City, 4-3 win at home to Millwall and a 1-1 draw with Coventry, but their first losses followed with 2 sobering 3-0 drubbings away at Derby and Blackburn Rovers. What followed though was Bristol City's best patch of the season, a run of 8 unbeaten, though the fact that 5 of those were draws still prevented them from pushing on any further than mid-table. And with fixture difficulty then shifting up a gear in early November, City's worst patch of the season succeeded it. 4 losses in their past 7 matches, some understandable against the likes of Sheffield United, Burnley and even arguably Watford, but some less so with last weekend's 3-0 thrashing away at Portsmouth, somehow immediately following Bristol City's own 4-0 home thrashing of Plymouth Argyle the week before. Add in the fact that midweek saw them nearly be the first team to topple Sunderland at the Stadium of Light this season until Roberts' 93rd minute equaliser, and I'm sure you get the picture on the unpredictability of this side. Bristol City tend to set up in a similar shape to QPR with a 4-2-3-1, though an injury list as extensive as our own has prevented Manning from playing his preferred starting lineup, with the likes of Tanner, Naismith and Sykes all ruled out during the festive period, and marquee summer signing Scott Twine out with illness in the past 2 games. I couldn't go much longer, of course, without mentioning the not 1, not 2, but 3 QPR alumni in this Bristol City squad, all of whom have a pretty good chance of featuring in this tie. After becoming a key figure last season, Rob Dickie has missed half the season with a hamstring injury, but has played a full 90 in each of the past 5 games. Nahki Wells started the season as an impact sub, but has gradually found himself becoming the starting striker with 5 goals in 898 minutes, and that's largely owing to the inadequacy of third and final ex-Ranger Sinclair Armstrong. Summer signing Sinclair has 3 goals to his name so far against Millwall, Oxford and Argyle, and started the majority of the first 10 games of the season, but he's been regularly hooked on the hour, and until Sunderland midweek he has been coming on from the bench in recent weeks. Bristol City fans don't seem to be overly impressed with him, noting a lack of match fitness and his difficulty in playing as the lone forward. I personally did like Sinclair, but surely Manning only needed to watch most of his performances for Rangers last season to figure either of those things out. Still, he did used to frighten opposition defensive and fans last season, so I'm very intrigued personally to see what it's like with him on the opposite side this weekend. Finally, leading the scoring for Bristol City is left winger Mehmeti with 6 goals and an assist in all competitions, 5 of which have come in the past 7 games, so Jimmy Dunn will have a job to do in keeping him quiet. So, on to QPR now, whose form across the season almost reads like Bristol City's in reverse. On paper, it does seem like a good time to be heading to Ashton Gate, with Liam Manning's side having won just 1 of their past 5, but they have only lost 2 of their 9 home fixtures so far. With that said, QPR have won their past 4 away trips to Bristol City, so here's hoping we can make that 5. To do so though, Rangers will need to channel the second half of Wednesday night rather than the first, because Bristol City will not be as forgiving as Oxford United were. Combating the fatigue and complacency that was on show in the first 45 minutes in the third and final game of this 3-game week is, for me, half the battle for Cifuentes, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see a couple of changes here to make sure that doesn't happen again. We are, after all, still yet to win the third of a 3-game week, though our last against Watford was an energetic performance, so hopefully we channel some of that after our first back-to-back wins of the season. Swapping out Madsen feels like a pretty obvious choice for either Anderson or Morgan, and I imagine Powell may be back in contention to start a left-back, having rested against Oxford. Chair will hopefully also be in store for a few more minutes from the bench, and I do wonder if Mickey Frey might be named alongside him, with the club stating multiple times that he's due back sometime before Christmas. Either way, we've just got to make sure we keep the performance level as high as it's been and don't rest on our laurels now that we've started picking up a few wins, because Bristol City are just as capable of blowing a team away as they are rolling over. So let's round off with a score prediction. I think this is going to be a tight one. I can see both teams scoring, so I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. As ever, do let me know your thoughts and predictions ahead of this one in the comments below. And if you haven't already subscribed or followed on the platform of your choice, then please do so. It really helps me to grow what I'm doing. Thanks very much again for watching or listening, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one for my match reaction. Come on, you Rs.